All right. I appreciate everybody being here. I think everything is it's going well. Like we said, I guess it's been a few weeks ago since we announced the game and was able to get back to practicing. It's good to get back to ball. It's good to have our guys in a routine and getting in shape. I like the progression where we're at. We're not ready to play a game yet, but like I talked about in the last interview, I mean, using these practices, everybody in the country's practicing. So developing your young guys, just fundamental football, and that's really what we focused on. And so we're getting there. The progression's in place. We're excited about the game. I know that we moved it a week. I think that the uniqueness of this game allows us a little bit of flexibility to give both sides the opportunity to be at their best, and practice is paramount. Not just who's out there practicing, but making sure our guys are in shape. They're coming from not doing much to out there practicing, and we don't have a full schedule, so we don't have anything bumped up against it behind it that we have to get to the next game. So there's a little bit of flexibility working with each other, and so that's where we're at. We're excited that it's going to be on Channel 12. We're excited that we're going to be able to get fans in the stands, give our season ticket holders and families an opportunity to be at a game and watch some football. Even though it's one game, it's exciting. I know for our fan base, for our players' families to come and watch them. As we've learned through this time, I mean, you can't take anything for granted, and playing a college Division I football game, you definitely can't. And so for your opportunity to come and watch your son or grandson play, or whoever's able to come and play, I know our families are super appreciative of that opportunity. I think that for any Saluki fans out there, I know that we're only allowing season ticket holders to come, but for $75 to guarantee your spot to watch 5 Saluki home games, this game and then the spring, is really a heck of a deal. You're really not going to find really something to do for that cheap. Really, when you get down to it, 5 Division I football games, SEMO, and then all Missouri Valley games in the spring's really a good deal. So hopefully we gain a few more season ticket holders because they want to come to this game, and we'll be ready to play on October 30th.
Okay, thank you, Coach. We're going to move to questions. Reminder to the media to unmute your microphone when it's your turn, and then to remute your mic after you've asked your question. We're going to start with Mike Reese.
2 questions. Nick, is there something that triggered changing this date? I heard what you just said about changing it. Was there any one thing that triggered it?
Yeah, I think just both sides, agreeing to the date. Obviously, you see around college athletics, you see around pro football, you see around every sport. I mean, we're tested every single week, making sure that position groups and your teams at full strength. Obviously, we're going to have to be ready to play. Like I've told our team, there is no 1s, 2s, and 3s. Everybody's a 1. Everybody's got to be ready to play. But we also want to be fair to each other on going out there and competing against each other. So we're in constant communication with SEMO and making sure that date's the right date to have. We're excited about getting out there and practicing today. It's a beautiful, beautiful day, and we'll just keep our progression. We understand each week that we test. We tested earlier today, and it's I think today's my 11th test that I've taken as our staff. That's the 11th time we've been tested. So Tuesday nights you find out, but our numbers are good, and we want both sides to remain healthy and be at full strength when we play the game.
My other question, you've been practicing. Do you have a maximum number of practices the NCAA allows you, and thus because the game is pushed back a week, do you have to slow down practices less than maybe you normally would before a game?
No, we're allowed. Once you start practicing and you're pursuing games, you can you can practice up until the game. Now, once the game's over, we'll go back to 8 hours a week, which will be, strength and conditioning and those things. But leading up to the game, we'll be in our 20 hours a week.
Let me slip one more in. Since we talked, has there been any change in the possibility of playing a second game?
No.
Against somebody?
No, I mean, really, our focus is on playing this game, and we're excited to play SEMO. That's the focus of getting this thing off. I mean, we still have we have 4 weeks until this game, and that's really remains our focus.
Thank you.
Okay, next up for questions, Dan Verdun.
Hi, Nick. I appreciate your time today. My first question is, from seeing other teams play so far this fall, what have you learned that's going to help your team out? For example, some of the coaches have said they didn't hit enough in practice, and that showed up in games. So I'm just curious as to if that's something you looked at all.
Yeah, definitely. Talked to our team last night. Just we get the opportunity to watch these guys go in front of us. If you're not sitting on your couch and learning things about the game and listening to the mistakes that they've made, whether it's just attention to detail on situational football or special teams. Ball security, tackling, on some games have been bad, and then trying to manage that. I mean, it's tough. Not that those coaches, I told our team, every coach in the country has talked about it, has got in front of their team. They haven't forgot about the situations that could come up in a game. I mean, these are Division I coaches, but of taking that and taking ownership in the details of doing that. Tackling such a big thing. I mean, we tackle in the game, so you have to practice, but then you put your, you want to get your team to the game healthy as well. So a lot of times in the seasons, you see your first couple games, missed tackles are a big deal, and so that won't change in this game. We've got to be excellent teachers and finding unique ways of teaching tackling without putting our team at risk, which those things have gotten better with time, and we do those on a daily basis. It might not just be tackling each other, but it's drills and it's technique, and it's really on the player to really hone into those details. So when the game is live, they have the fundamentals to get players on the ground. I think that's probably the biggest thing, and then not just taken for granted. I feel like you can't as a coach, the importance of special teams and all the little details that could come up in this game. You never know when those things are going to come up in a game, and so you got to practice them all.
I've got one more for you. This kind of stems from the Unity March that you had recently, but it wasn't all that long ago you were playing. But just since that time that you were playing, how much has it increased that players now have a voice and are having some say in what things are done on and off the field?
Yeah, I think that it's a good thing. I think that the players' voices are definitely being heard. I would say in the last 10 years since I was here, I mean, social media platform has obviously changed in the last decade. I think when I was a junior, Facebook first came up, and you didn't have it on your phone, and it's just at any point, now everybody has a platform. How you use that is important, and so I think that's probably the biggest thing that's changed in the last 10 years is social media. I think that players in sport have always had a platform. It's using it in the right way. It's using it and pursuing that and recognizing the window of opportunity that you have as a student athlete to use your voice and use your platform connections, those type of things to create change, create a positive conversation. So I think that's always been there. I think more so now with the social media, with those type of things, maybe it's easier for their voices to be heard.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Okay, next up for questions, we'll go to Matt Barney.
No questions for me, Tom.
Okay, we'll move to Ryan Scott.
Hey, yeah, I was just wondering, like, how practice being, like, how practice has been limited and, like, how that has affected what you can do due to, like, the regulations on contact in practice or stuff like that.
Yeah, really practice. Obviously, some of the things in outside the white lines, as far as the social distancing and the logistics of practice have changed. There's no water bottles. Everybody kind of like pop one or bring your water bottle to practice. You give them water breaks and they go over and find the big jug that has their name on it, and those type of things are a little bit different. But between the white lines, there's really only one way to play football. You're going to have to practice, and that's what the testing and things are for, to keep everybody safe and the contact tracing and those type of things. But that is the unique opportunity for us playing a little bit later is talking to different coaches around the country of things that we can be aware of, things that maybe they would have done differently once they got into practicing. We still don't utilize our locker room. They get dressed outside under the stadium to limit all of those type of things. So we feel like we've done the best job we can outside the white lines of limiting everybody's contact. So probably that would be different if you came to a practice, but once you get on to 11 on 11, it looks pretty normal.
Okay, Ryan, do you have any other questions?
No, that was it for me.
Okay, at this time, let's move to Todd Hefferman.
Hi, Coach. Does moving the game back a week, does that allow you maybe to get a scrimmage in, or how does it affect your practice schedule that you usually, I imagine, probably marked out 4 weeks once you started?
Yeah, just in this day and age, I've been used to those schedules are pretty in light pencil. So you quickly get the eraser out and you just come up with a new schedule. Really, how we've been back since the summer is it's a week at a time, day at a time, really. But just being able to adapt your schedule. Our players have done an outstanding job of it was kind of like crickets when I told them that the game was being pushed back a week, and it was just like, okay, well, what about tomorrow's practice? Is that still the same? And it is, and we just keep going. And so, but yeah, I think it'll give us an opportunity to maybe give them a couple different days off in there that we wouldn't have, and then just where we go live in a scrimmage or two. It's another positive for our young guys. I mean, when you look back and you're going to get these practice opportunities, the developmental opportunities, the film, it's been good. Got a couple injured guys that might have been questionable for the game that maybe we would get back. Those guys have to see the positive silver lining and those type of things. And so you can always look at something in a positive or a negative, and so really we just roll with it and look at the positives.
Did you guys decide to scrimmage last weekend, or have you yet since you started practicing?
We really haven't went full out scrimmage. We went live one time for a short segment, but that's about it.
Can you tell us how your offensive line is coming together? You have a couple possibly new starting tackles and a new center. Is Jimmy Wormsley your center that's getting the most reps right now, or how is your line coming together?
I think we're excited about the guys up front. We really are. We've got a lot of returning guys that have played a lot of snaps for us, and off a team that ran the ball. We were second in the Missouri Valley to North Dakota State last year in rushing, and we've got really 7 guys that have taken significant snaps for us at the offensive line. So, I think right now you're practicing a lot of different lineups because you just want to make sure that those guys are versatile and that we can plug in different guys at different, more so than any other time. You just don't know. So different guys have to be able to snap the ball. Jimmy's doing a nice job. Really, every guard has taken snaps at center, just so we've got depth at every position. Some guards have went out and played at tackle. We just have to be ready for anything, which I think has been a good thing. Guys have to cross train at different positions. Linebackers got to be able to play inside and outside. That sense of urgency has been good for a lot of different guys.
You return most of your top receivers, but who's impressed you? I guess besides Landon and Avante. Todd.
Yeah, we have a deep group. Both of our leading receivers are back. Our tight ends with Jacob Garrett back, and so it's a couple guys that got a little bit of that. Branson Combs, played in 4 games last year as a true freshman, as a redshirt freshman, is doing a really nice job. Jerron Rollins is eligible, who transferred here last year but had to sit out from Cincinnati, and is doing a nice job. Got a couple young receivers that have impressed that'll get an opportunity to play. And again, I think really at those positions, I think what you've seen, the sense of urgency in these practices, like I said, is that we don't really say, hey, the 1s are out, the 2s are out, the 3s are out. They understand that they can they can play, just based off of one day or 2 days, and you find out, hey, now you're starting. So there's not a position out there that you got to have depth. So we feel good about our depth at wide receiver.
I'm sure Tom hasn't told you much about his team, but do you expect them to be a run-oriented team again with a new quarterback and several other linemen back, but a lot of their best skill players are gone?
Well, the past last year, the quarterback hurt us, and 6. When you watch that game, there was about a string of 4 series where we didn't score and they scored on every single one, and the game was out of hand. And it was 14-13, I think, with about 4 minutes to go in the first half. We were winning, and you look back, and we're down 30-14 quickly, and it was from explosive pass plays. And so they have ran the ball. 2 years ago was a shootout here where they had a running back rush for 200 and DJ rushed for like 190, and the scores in the 40s. And so they're a balanced football team. This is a team that's beat us 2 years in a row. They're back-to-back playoff OVC champs, playoff team. So they're a physical-minded team that's going to be built strong through the middle, starting with their defensive line. They've had really athletic guys on the edge. And then they've had really good, they had the defensive player of the year in the country too, Zach Hall, that now is gone. I feel like we played against him since I've been the offensive coordinator here. So it'll be good that he's out of there. But, they continue to do a great job in recruiting and replacing guys, and just physical and athletic. And so I don't expect anything different.
And the last question, your most recent COVID test, have you guys had any positives on your team from the most recent results you got?
Yeah, our most recent results, we test 130 people. One time we had one positive. And so we, like I said, we got to keep being diligent. I think you're not only facing your own opponent, but you're facing the COVID opponent too. That's every team in the country. Everybody's playing now. Every Division I league, every FCS school is practicing, so they're in their 20 hours a week. So they're testing once a week. And so just got that commitment, and you can't get that COVID fatigue of not doing what's right, wearing your mask, social distancing. Like I told them, they're going to get one of their longest breaks of their life after Thanksgiving break through Christmas, with school being out. And so we just have to stay super diligent right now, each and every day. doing the right thing, not getting tired of doing the right thing. It's no one's fault. This virus, obviously, we've seen if the president can get COVID, really anybody can. That bubble's pretty tight. We try to do everything we can with the protocols, and I've been proud of our guys of doing the right thing and everybody involved.